Yeah, that's why I want a younger woman, because she's naive.
What are you gonna say, me calling her 70 times was inappropriate too? Now you got my dad getting on my case because I'm gonna wake my mom up, huh?
So who is Little QB? On TikTok, he looks like any other religious creator, only with a little twist.
I genuinely feel violated by TikTok right now. My live just got taken down for...
He preaches about God, drops life advice, and acts like he's some kind of spiritual guide, but that's only the surface.
Remember, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
Behind the sermons is a guy named Brett, 29 years old, and his online history goes back way further than TikTok. We're talking all the way back to 2009.
Overall, the high school experience was different. When we got to the lunchroom, everything started to change. Seniors came and stole people's foods when they weren't looking. I was not a victim.
Unlike most creators who either grow, change, or quit after embarrassing themselves online, Brett never stopped. For more than a decade, he's been posting content that ranges from bizarre to flat-out disturbing, and instead of learning from the backlash, he doubled down.
White boy drunk on wasted, pop 3 eggs, got my heartbeat racing. Young fly nigga like Lucci, Javinci got tired of that Gucci. These nigga big pussy, they coochie, claiming they shooters ain't doing no shooting. Front seat.
The religious phase is new, but his unhinged behavior has been there all along. And when you line up the timeline, you see a pattern. Every platform, every era, Brett finds a way to keep oversharing, keep spiraling, and keep dragging new people into his mess. This isn't about one bad clip or one controversy. It's about a guy who turned the internet into his stage for over 10 years, exposing every side of himself in ways most people wouldn't dream of.
The QB in my name comes from Brett Favre, the quarterback from the Green Bay Packers that I was named after because I was born like less than 4 hours before his birthday. He signed a jersey for me when I was a baby to the little QB. So that's where.
Brett actually seemed like he had his life together. He had a girlfriend, they were making content as a team, and according to our digging, some of their vlogs were doing pretty decent numbers. The two of them seemed happy enough. They'd film together, do a couple stuff that people actually wanted to watch. For a minute there, it looked like Brett might actually make it as a normal content creator. But then something happened. One day, the girlfriend just disappeared from the videos, completely. Like she never existed. Now, we tried to dig into what exactly went down with this breakup, but Brett's made it pretty hard to figure out. But here's what we could piece together. After she was gone, Brett's content started getting weird. And we mean really weird. This wasn't the religious stuff he does now, by the way. That came way later. Back then, it was just off. Like you could watch his videos and tell something wasn't right, but you couldn't put your finger on what exactly.
Did you know that the Civil War never really ended in America? Because the 40 acres and a mule that was promised to the freed slaves, well, that was broken. After Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, Andrew Johnson actually repealed that.
The breakup hit Brett hard financially, too. Turns out when you're making content with someone and they disappear, suddenly you can't afford your own place anymore. So what does a grown man do when he can't pay rent? He moves back in with mom and dad.
Fun fact, Ozzy Osbourne sung the first true Christian rock song, After Forever, in 1971. It was written by Geezer Butler. There's a podcast by Catholic Talk Radio.
Now, most people would be embarrassed about this. Most people would try to get back on their feet quietly, maybe not broadcast their living situation to the internet. But Brett? Brett decided to redecorate.
Matthew 7, Judge not, lest ye be judged, for the measure with which you judge will be measured out and judged against you.
And when we say redecorate, we mean he covered his childhood bedroom with upside-down crosses. Not just a few here and there. We're talking wall-to-wall upside-down crosses. The whole room looked like some kind of anti-religious shrine.
I have St. Peter's cross, St. Thomas's spear, St. Andrew's cross, the tears Mary cried at the foot of the cross of her son as she beheld him dead. This represents St. Rose, the Star of David, St. Matthias' axe.
But it didn't stop at the room. Brett started putting these symbols on himself too, drawing them on his forehead, on his arms, anywhere he could fit them.
Late night live down by the river if you want to come hang out. God bless you all. The Bible verse for today is Genesis chapter 1, verse 9.
And then he'd film videos like this was totally normal behavior. He even took his time to explain the meaning of the crosses on his body.
That's a great question. This is St. Peter's cross, represents the authority of the Pope and also St. Peter's martyrdom. He did not feel worthy to be crucified the same way as Jesus, so he asked to be crucified upside down. This is sacred tradition of the Catholic Church, but in the 1960s it was co-opted as a so-called satanic symbol, but Romans 12:21 tells us to overcome evil with good.
Brett was following it step by step, The transformation was happening slowly, but you could see it if you knew what to look for. As the months went by, Brett didn't just stay weird. He got more aggressive, more unhinged, and way more open about thoughts that most people would keep locked up in their heads forever.
I just got a banana on here while having a casual conversation. I appled it, but super weird. Thank the Lord that I recorded the deer sighting that we had, or I would have lost that because I can't save it now unless the appeal goes through. Pray for me.
His behavior was worsening in ways that made you uncomfortable just watching. We're talking about a guy who went from making normal couple vlogs to, well, whatever this was becoming.
I am absolutely so excited. The song that motivated me by God's grace to read the Bible is After Forever by Black Sabbath. And I just found a documentary claiming that that song is actually the first Christian rock song in history. I gotta see this. Come check it out. I'll be live.
And the scary part, he seemed to have zero awareness that anything was wrong. The aggression was getting real. Not just talking about being rude in comments or getting into stupid arguments. Brett was saying stuff that crossed lines most people wouldn't even get close to. And the disturbing thoughts? He was sharing those too, like he thought everyone else was thinking the same things. It was like watching someone's mental health deteriorate in real time, except they were live streaming the whole thing and asking people to subscribe. The upside down crosses were just the visual representation of whatever was happening in his head.
What's up, y'all? Roll call. We are going to be doing a little short live stream. Ask me any questions you might have about the Bible. I opened up to Proverbs 29, and my pinky was right on 11. Such a great verse. The fool gives vent to all his anger, but by biding his time...
What made it even more unsettling was how consistent it all was. This wasn't someone having a bad day or going through a rough patch. Little QB's was a pattern that kept getting more intense, more concerning, and more public with each video he posted. And that's when he did the thing that brought him to our attention. The thing that made us realize this wasn't just another weird internet person. This was something else entirely.
I'm sorry for that question I asked last. Scared you a bit like a hazmat in a gas mask. If you ask Zach and my brother, he likes when I rap fast. And let's backtrack back to this. Who would you live and die for on that list? But the problem is there's another list that exists and no one really wants to think about this. Forget sanity, forget salary, forget vanity by morality.
Up until now, you could maybe laugh a little, maybe shake your head. But once you hear some of the things he says during his live streams, you realize he's crossed into a whole other territory. And the worst part? He's not trolling, he's not being edgy, this guy is completely serious.
If I met somebody that was, like for instance, someone lied and he said they were 18, didn't know how much they actually were, right, then I would continue talking to them for a few years. And let's say we lived in Alabama, and then they couldn't maintain their perpetual virginity, maybe then I would.
That was Brett explaining why he thinks it's fine to keep talking to someone younger if they lied about their age. He even throws in Alabama as an example, like, oh yeah, the laws down there make it okay. And then he goes further, saying most men feel the same way, they're just too afraid to admit it.
Good morning, everyone! I fell asleep with my makeup, so I made the best of it. Came down for a nature walk. Today's Bible verse is Wisdom chapter 13, verses 1 through 10. God bless you.
The way he delivers this is so casual, like he's dropping some kind of truth bomb, when really it's one of the most incriminating things you'll ever hear someone say on a live stream.
God bless you all. Today I'm hanging out down by the river. It is such a beautiful spot. And the verse for today is John 14:6. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Amen.
Normal people don't sit around making up scenarios about teenagers and legality loopholes. Normal people don't defend this stuff in front of an audience. But Brett? He lays it all out like it's common sense. And the crazy thing is, he doesn't even seem to notice how disturbing he sounds. Then he doubles down with this gem.
Just talking about biology here. And biology dictates that a young woman aged around 14 to 15 to 19 is nearly identical to or identical to an adult woman. We're purely talking hypotheticals. So I don't know what the big deal is.
Yeah, that's him saying that teenage girls are biologically identical to adult women. One funny and yet not funny thing about little QB is how he hides behind words like biology and hypotheticals. And this video you just cringed at is a big part of why people started calling him the TikTok creep. But trust him to not stop there. Little QB always finds a way to drag religion into it. He claims he's Catholic, but then he twists it into his own warped version where apparently younger girls are better because they have fewer sins, fewer partners, and can be molded into the kind of woman he wants. Listen to how he phrases it.
But if the guy's trying to get in her right, then obviously he's able to manipulate her in a way that's like unfair.
Yeah, that's not right. That's
you know what I mean?
yeah.
But I don't really see.
I don't really see any. I don't really see any like issue or any like overtly like predatory behavior if the person's like wanting to like foster their development in a healthy platonic way or whatever that looks like. You know what I mean? Age appropriate, whatever it might be.
He literally says he prefers someone in their formative years so he can mold them. That's definitely not a slip of the tongue or a misunderstanding. That's him telling you exactly what he's after. So let's break that down. He's admitting that he wants someone who doesn't know any better, someone who can't recognize his behavior for what it is. He wants a partner who won't challenge him, who won't call him out, who will go along with whatever he says because they're too inexperienced to realize how wrong it all is. Just great.
All right, guys, shout out to everybody. D'Angelo, I know we say things up here you might not have heard before, but just listen close. Guys, give me a follow if you haven't yet. Give my guests a follow on the way out. I always put them up on the big screen, guys.
Oh, shit.
Remember that Alabama line from the earlier clip? That's the key. When Brett says legal, he doesn't mean legal in the way most people understand it. He means whatever state has the lowest possible number. He bends morality around legality, so if the law says yes, then in his mind, it's automatically fine. And when you line it all up, the Alabama excuse, the biology nonsense, the religion spin, the obsession with naivety, you get a very clear picture of who this guy we're dealing with really is. And we don't know about you, but that picture is chilling.
What are you gonna say, me calling her 70 times was inappropriate too? Now you got my dad getting on my case because I'm gonna wake my mom up, huh? Right? You really, oh yeah.
Now, if you thought Little QB's disturbing statements were bad, this next part might even be worse for you. Because once you start looking at how he interacts with people in his own community, things get even darker. See, Little QB doesn't just live stream to an audience. He surrounds himself with what he calls a mod team.
What I'm trying to say
Drag her out of here. Drag her out of here. She can't control her temper.
And that is...
Drag her out of here. Drag her out of here. My mods are slow right now.
And if you look closely, you'll notice a pattern. Almost every single one of them is female. He keeps in personal contact with all of them. Crazier thing is, he met every single one through his YouTube chats. But why does Brett, with his much smaller audience, need a full team of mods to control his chat? Simple. He doesn't. The mod title isn't about managing the chat, but about Brett picking people he likes and pulling them closer to him. And the receipts back this up. Not long ago, leaked DMs between Brett and one of his mods started circulating on TikTok. And let's tell you, they were bad. This is the same Brett who gets on livestream and preaches about God, about morality, about being better than everyone else. One commented, "But I prayed and asked God to prompt you to forgive me for upsetting you," and he says, "Ask and he shall receive. And I know I am in a state of grace right now, so my discernment of spirits is working. I'm pretty sure I have a spiritual gift where I can locate demons by the grace of the Holy Spirit. So yeah, I love you and we will talk soon. Don't worry about me, I feel better now that I got to type to you. Just don't block me, baby girl, the demons are taunting you to do that. Because if I can't message you, my next thought is to break my chastity. So instead I made a new account to reach out and tell you. You can run, but you can't hide." But behind the scenes, he was sending unsolicited pictures to members of his mod team. And keep in mind, some of those mods, including the one he sent those images to, were underage.
Oh.
Bro, you gotta play the Julio diss track, bro.
That's one of my most popular songs. I actually got a 15-year-old kid to react to the comments at the park. He read the comments out loud. Because I was like,
kind of crazy.
I was like, yo, it kind of popped off.
When those messages leaked, TikTok lit up. People posted, reacted, dragged him across the app.
Hey you guys, are you ready for a awesome live tonight? I'm super excited about this topic and I look forward to seeing all of you there.
And how did Brett respond? Not with an apology or even with accountability. He flew into one of the most unhinged rages we've ever seen. He claimed the girl was committing felonies, that he wasn't doing anything wrong, that the real problem was people doxing him. He even tried to laugh it off, calling it a hilarious joke. Meanwhile, he was caught red-handed sending pictures nobody asked for. And then his anger spiraled further.
What? 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 Me? Me?
He started hurling insults, threatening violence, screaming at people who dared to call him out. At one point, he literally called one of his mods a whore and promised to show her the set he wanted to do, implying he wanted to direct all his rage toward her. And the meltdown didn't stop there. His rants went on, until even his parents had to step in. You can hear him snapping midstream, realizing his dad is on his case because he's about to wake up his mom with all the yelling. The whole scene is chaotic, disturbing, and honestly embarrassing.
You don't come into my space. Shut up. Don't talk. Seriously, don't get into this. You don't know what you're dealing with. You see, now you got my dad getting on my case because I'm gonna wake my mom up, huh?
right?
Well, that was Brett melting down in real time, trying to twist the story into some kind of bizarre defense.
When you started talking to them.
Why would you want to talk to a 14-year-old, Brett?
Would you like me to replay it?
This isn't something that's like real. I think somebody was asking me like a fictitious hypothetical example or something.
There was nobody else on the video, Brett.
So just to put the pieces together, Brett uses his platform to pull in women, often younger women, under the guise of giving them mod status. He pushes personal contact. He sends unsolicited pictures. And when he's exposed, instead of reflecting on what he's done, he lashes out with rage and threats. Now that's a pattern that tells you exactly what his intentions were from the start.
Like I said, this would, if he lived in my town, I would just go over there and kick his ass. And if he'd fucking, right, that might be voluntary manslaughter.
This is the moment that cemented Little QB's reputation. Out of everything he's done, this meltdown became his most infamous. People already knew Brett was unhinged. But when this clip spread, it confirmed that his issues ran way deeper than anyone thought.
Send in a guest request if you want to join. Send in a guest request if you want me to hear your voice. Yo, come on, let's rejoice. Make some noise, we're gonna chill out, and we gonna get with the boys.
Afterward, he went on his TikTok lives and tried to explain it away. He claimed it wasn't what people thought, insisting that he was only using dark humor as some kind of trauma response. According to him, the whole thing had been twisted. He argued that the woman involved had baited him, encouraged him, and even tempted him, and that he was the one being manipulated. In his mind, she was the married instigator, while he was simply reacting.
That you think that I did was actually just me using dark humor as a trauma response to receiving unsolicited photos, but they framed it as if the photos that I sent were unsolicited. But wait a second, no. I have witnesses showing that the woman in question here literally was telling me, oh, check Snap, Brett. Oh, check Snap. She knows I struggle with lust. She's also a married woman. Oh, check Snap, Brett. Then I go into chat. She's like, oh, I'm looking at my eyes only folder. So with that being said, she's teasing me into try to engage in adultery with her.
But the leaked messages tell a different story. When you actually read them, the tone flips completely. Brett was the one steering the conversation, pushing things in an explicit direction, and refusing to back off even after she made it clear she wasn't interested. She said she was sick. She said she didn't want this. And instead of respecting that, Brett doubled down, fantasizing in detail about what he wanted to do to her while she was in that vulnerable state.
That's his, oh, no, I misspelled it. It's with an A.
Where are Goofy Goobers? Goofy Goober.
Aiden Hackett, Hackett. He works for Florida and the government, and he admitted, and I have the clip, I'd have to go, I saved it, but he admitted to selling my phone number.
That's why people reacted so strongly to this. His defense fell apart when compared with the receipts. The meltdown showed Brett at his rawest, manipulative, unfiltered, and willing to say anything to dodge accountability. To the outside world, it was a disturbing unraveling. To Brett, it was completely justified. The backlash from his meltdown was massive, but it didn't stop Little QB.
The ideal wife, according to God. When one finds a worthy wife, her value is far beyond pearls. Her husband, entrusting his heart to her, has an unfailing prize. She brings him good and not evil all the days of her life. She rises while it is still night, and distributes food to her household.
If anything, it exposed a pattern that kept repeating itself. Not long after the dust settled, news broke that he was messaging yet another minor. Most people assume the girl came from his TikTok audience, since Brett has a history of following and DMing almost anyone who gives him attention. This is hardly surprising because his lives are often filled with kids. He's had people as young as 13 up on his panel, talking with him like it's normal. That alone should raise red flags, but Brett never saw a problem with it. In his world, boundaries don't exist if it means getting more attention. The proof goes even deeper. In one of his videos, he openly admitted to messaging someone who had already told him they were under 18. Instead of backing away, he went as far as referring to her as his girlfriend. He tried to play it off as harmless, saying he wouldn't reveal who it was to respect her privacy, but the damage was already done. He had crossed the line, and he didn't even seem to realize it.
When I asked her out, blocked me. So, yeah. But I'm actually considering her my girlfriend, as of now. But I can't say who because I want to respect her privacy and everything, so I'm just not going to say who.
And this isn't just about messages. Brett has exposed himself on camera more than once, fully aware that his audience is filled with minors. His moderators, who are mostly underage girls, have also been subjected to this behavior. It's not an isolated slip. It's a repeated cycle of crossing boundaries, excusing it, and then doing it again.
That's wild. The first comment I got it said, "Fever dreams be like." That's what I've been telling you was like the title of it. The working title of that animation I just said, what, like 40 minutes ago was Fever Dream, right? That's wild.
This pattern makes it clear the meltdown wasn't a one-off incident. It was a window into how Brett operates. He preys on younger audiences, hides behind flimsy excuses, and keeps escalating despite the backlash.
That was cool. A snowfall, and now here we go. We're gonna keep going here. We got another one. I want to just try out all these cool new like winter gifts. Let's see, what do I got? I couldn't find the snow globe the first time. There you go. And let's.
So after all the drama and controversy, someone finally decided to call Brett out publicly. A TikToker who goes by Priestley Sage 666 set up a live panel to discuss everything that had been going down. They invited Brett to join and defend himself.
How many grandmas you got? How many grandmas you got?
I have two. One of them died before I was born.
Died so far. You said that.
Oh my God! What is wrong with you? She died on Tuesday. Her burial is literally in 2 days. I got my suit fitted.
Right off the bat, Brett comes in playing the victim card. His grandma supposedly just died. Everyone needs to stop talking about him, the whole thing. But here's where it gets interesting. People start questioning his story immediately.
Hanging out in the rubble. How about you?
The way Brett responds when people challenge him tells you everything you need to know about how he handles pressure. Instead of staying calm or providing proof, he completely loses it. We're talking full meltdown mode.
How many grandmas you got? How many grandmas you got?
I have two. One of them died before I was born.
Died so far. You said that.
Oh my God! What is wrong with you? She died on Tuesday. Her burial is literally in 2 days. I got my suit fitted today. What is wrong with you people?
Just died
What is wrong with you people?
Though.
She didn't. She just died 2 days ago. Oh,
I know.
oh my
You
goodness.
seem very.
Take this live down. Take this live down. I swear to God. You take this live down. Take this live down. I swear to God, you motherfuckers will pay. You'll pay. 18. I talked to her all my life for 3 months under that false idea that she was 18. I stopped talking to her. I literally thought she was going through a mental health crisis, so that's why I made other accounts to try to reach out. Then when she said she was serious, I never contacted her again. I've never been arrested. That's a fake news story. You all go to hell. I hope you all rot in hell. I hope you all rot in hell.
This is where you really see Brett's true colors. When he's backed into a corner and can't manipulate the situation, he turns nasty really fast. The whole thing devolved into threats and curses when he realized people weren't buying his explanations. This is classic behavior for someone who's used to controlling the narrative through their own content, but falls apart when they can't control the conversation.
I never doxed anyone on my live. No, I didn't. I never did that. Who? I posted my Facebook account on my live. That's not doxing someone. That's holding someone accountable. You're a liar. You're a liar. She literally impersonated one of my moderators, changed keywords, was unblocking people when I was blocking people. You know what? I'll call her right now. Thank you for reminding me. Seriously, thank you.
This panel became a turning point because it showed everyone exactly who they were dealing with. All the weird religious content, all the strange behavior. This confrontation stripped away the facade and revealed someone who couldn't defend their actions when pressed by others. The aftermath of this confrontation would prove to be just as revealing as the event itself, because Brett's response to being called out publicly would show us just how deep this rabbit hole really goes.
I specifically asked him. He would probably date someone 16 and marry them when they were 18. And he said yes.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
When Brett realized this would not stay on his TikTok page, he panicked. He stopped apologizing. He started attacking. He called victims nonstop. He messaged them at all hours. He pushed his smallest audience to hunt them down online. He doxed people and threatened violence. He framed himself as the victim the whole time. He lied to anyone who would listen. His live streams turned into hunting sessions. He read names out loud. He posted links and profiles. He encouraged followers to hold people accountable while sending them after targets. He kept repeating the same line that the fault belonged to others, never him. When clips of the behavior spread, he doubled down. He framed his rants as a trauma response. He mocked victims for reacting. He turned genuine fear into fodder for his show. These were kids, some of them underage. They stumbled into his orbit and found themselves targeted. He used insults and threats to silence them. He tried to make them the problem. As days passed, his streams grew wilder. The manic energy increased. Each session blurred the line between broadcast and attack. People stopped seeing a streamer. They saw a man weaponizing a platform against ordinary viewers. This is what full panic mode looks like. It is relentless and cruel. At this point, it's clear that Brett's behavior is an ongoing danger. The way he talks, the way he acts, and the way he treats people all point to someone who has no sense of boundaries and no intention of changing. In Brett's mind, his victims don't even have the right to exist online unless they're answering to him. He said before that they shouldn't have their phones on, that they don't deserve social media, and that the harassment won't end until they give him what he wants. Legally, this is the kind of behavior that leads to restraining orders, but instead of stepping back, he's still on TikTok, and it raises a disturbing question. Why is he still allowed on the app at all? When you zoom out, the picture is bleak. Brett is not just a risk to the individuals he targets, but also to the countless kids who stumble across his streams. Every time he goes live, there's a chance another young person gets pulled into his orbit, and while Brett keeps spinning stories and painting himself as the victim, the facts tell a different story.